I'd spent enough years doing things I wasn't proud of that my internal alarm system barely worked anymore. If a job felt off but the payout was right, I trained myself to focus on the numbers instead of the shape of it. Gaps in the details didn't bother me. Silence didn't bother me. The people who asked for discretion usually did. So when the offer landed, last minute, single night, NDA required, airfare covered. It didn't register as strange. If anything, it sounded efficient. The kind of work that preferred no trail behind it. Most people would have spotted warning signs immediately. I didn't. I saw clean execution. The money hit my account before I asked a single follow-up. I said yes. The aircraft wasn't commercial. It was a cargo plane. Huge, hollow, ribbed metal walls exposed, tie-down tracks bolted into the floor. No windows that I could see. No attendants. Just one folding seat bolted near the center of the bay. The rest of the plane was full of Christmas trees. Not crates. Not pallets. Trees. Dozens of them jammed together so tightly their branches were crushed flat beneath heavy cargo netting. Every single tree was fully decorated. Ornaments, tinsel, lights, and blasting through hidden speakers somewhere in the bay. Christmas music. Loud, upbeat, relentless. Brass sections, choirs, bells stacked on top of bells. The volume was cranked high enough that the sound ricocheted off the metal walls and vibrated in my teeth. I hated it. I hate Christmas. People always assume that's some kind of edgy personality trait. It isn't. I just learned early that Christmas isn't what people pretend it is. It's a performance. And if you miss your cue, you're the one who pays. My mother was an alcoholic when I was growing up. Not the dramatic kind you see in movies. No bottles hidden in walls. No interventions. She worked, paid bills, functioned just well enough that no one ever stepped in, which meant it was just me and her year after year. Every December, she'd ask what I wanted for Christmas. She always sounded sincere. I believed her the first few times. I'd tell her something small. A toy, a game, a book, nothing expensive. Every year, she forgot. Not just the gift, the entire conversation. Christmas morning would come. I'd wake early, sit by the tree, and wait. Hours would pass. Noon would come and go. When she finally stumbled home, it was always dark. She'd act surprised that it was Christmas at all. Sometimes there were no presents. Sometimes there was something random she'd grabbed on the way home. A sweater that didn't fit, a DVD I already owned. One year, she handed me a gas station candy bar and said we'd do something special later. We never did. By 8, I stopped expecting anything. That was the year she came home, so drunk she didn't make it to her bedroom. Passed out on the couch. The TV was blasting carols. I turned it off, pulled a blanket over her, cleaned vomit off the armrest with paper towels because it was already drying. That's not something an 8-year-old should know how to do. So when that music filled the cargo bay, song after song, demanding joy, I didn't feel nostalgic. I felt trapped, wedged between decorated trees, freezing, forced to listen to voices insisting happiness was mandatory. I stared at the ornaments inches from my face and reminded myself of the only rule that ever mattered. Don't expect anything. The music played right up until the wheels hit the ice. The plane didn't land. It slammed down. No warning. No descent. 1 second the engines droned steadily, Christmas music blaring, and the next the entire bay dropped hard enough to throw me from the seat. I hadn't buckled in. My shoulder hit first, then my ribs. I went sideways into the trees. Branches snapped. Ornaments shattered. Pine needles scraped my face. Something sharp cut my cheek. I bounced off one trunk, then another, the air driven from my lungs as I hit the floor. The music kept playing. I tried to get my hands under me and slammed into another tree. Real pine branches raked my skin. Sap smeared my jacket. Glass exploded around me. The trees slowed me. That's the only reason I didn't break something, but it still hurt like hell. Every impact rattled my teeth. Fresh pain flared through my ribs and spine. The engine screamed. The bay lurched sideways, and I went with it. lifted and thrown into another wall of trees. A heavy branch caught my chest. I tasted blood and bark. I yelled, but the music swallowed it whole. Then the music stopped. No fade. No warning. Just silence. At the same moment, the plane jolted again. Without the music to hide it, the sound was brutal. I was flung once more into the trees. Then, nothing. No engines. No music. No movement. I lay there gasping, staring up at branches swaying overhead. Broken ornaments dangled from bent hooks. My hands shook when I finally pushed myself upright. Everything hurt, but nothing felt broken. The rear ramp groaned as it lowered. Snow blew sideways in a full whiteout, swallowing the plane the moment I stepped onto the ice. Visibility dropped to almost nothing, just blowing white and the dark shape of a structure ahead. Cold hit instantly. I staggered forward as the ramp struck solid ground. Ice. Flat. Endless. No runway lights. No markings. No vehicles. The plane didn't wait. Behind me, the ramp rose. Metal sealed shut. Engines roared back to life. Seconds later, the plane lifted and vanished into the clouds like it had never existed. The wind cut through my jacket. I stood there longer than I meant to, chest still tight from a fall, then looked out ahead. That's when the color hit me. The warehouse wasn't dull or industrial. It was bright red, not faded, not weathered. The kind of red that looks wet. Christmas red. The kind used to catch attention. It didn't belong here. As I got closer, the shape became impossible to ignore. It wasn't just a warehouse. It was a present. Perfectly rectangular. Razor-sharp edges. A massive ribbon wrapped around it. Dark metal bands bolted into the walls like structural supports. Where a bow should have been, the roof twisted into an exaggerated knot of steel loops. The surface was flawless. No snow. No ice. No scratches. No tracks leading to it. No road. It just sat on the ice like it had always been there. I approached the front. A door seam was worked cleanly into the ribbon. No handle. No lock. I raised my hand. A deep mechanical click came from inside. The door unlocked. It slid open just wide enough for me to enter, then sealed behind me with a final, heavy thud. Cold followed me in. The interior opened into a massive concrete space. Crates stretched away in neat rows, each marked with stenciled numbers. Candles burned everywhere, precise, evenly spaced. The walls were covered in paper, flyers, warnings. They weren't the same. Some were new, some yellowed, some copied until the letters blurred. I stopped to read 3. The Candy Cane Massacre, 1976. Do not allow striped tools or decorations into Workshop B. Krampus is drawn to sugar and dye. 8 elves lost. No remains recovered. Someone had scrawled beneath it in red marker. If it looks festive, it isn't worth it. The next was older. Typewritten. The Silent Night Incident, 1989. Music after curfew caused a breach. Krampus mimicked carols to lure staff. 11 elves lost before containment. Mimicked was underlined 3 times. The third was recent. The North Wing breach, 4 days before Christmas. 9 elves lost. Cause, rule deviation. Krampus ate them. Every flyer followed the same format. Event. Year. Rule broken. Body count. No apologies. No memorials. Just mistakes logged. The farther I went, the more candles appeared. A folding table near the entrance held a clipboard weighted by a stone. 1 page. My name printed neatly at the top. Welcome, Cole Keaton. Member of the Naughty List. Rules to survive the North Pole. I lifted the page. Hi. I turned. She leaned against a crate like she'd been there the whole time. Blonde hair. Red pointed hat drooping to one side. Smoking a cigarette. New here? Yeah. She nodded and offered the cigarette. Want one? Sure. The smoke tasted like licorice. You here alone? Looks like it. She laughed softly. They like doing that. You work here? Used to. Sort of. Got kicked out. From where? She smiled. The workshop silly. She crushed the cigarette under her boot. You should read those. All of them, she added, humor gone. Holly, she said when I asked. When she adjusted her hat, I saw it. One pointed ear. She didn't hide it. Yep, she said. She walked away, between the crates. I looked down at the rules. And I read. I folded the page and slipped it into my jacket. The candles went out all at once. Darkness collapsed. Something boomed beneath the floor. And the night began.